The Galaxy Z Fold 8 is so much better than I thought it was going to be, that maybe the Ultra isn't the fold to get. Let's go. With both these phones out now, enough time I think has passed with them in my hands and in other people's hands to know which one is the right choice. I've made a few videos about the Z Fold 8 already, but none about the Ultra. So what has this got? Where does it sit in relation to the Fold 8, and what's the right choice? I wanted to find out. So I've been using both alongside each other to really see where the advantages of each one lies. Design-wise, whilst they share a category, they honestly couldn't be further apart as their form factor goes. The Fold 8, 201 grams in weight, it's a lot shorter and wider, and you definitely notice that change in design and aspect as you're using it. The aspect change both exists on the outside and the inside. The Fold 8 Ultra, despite the feeling of extra space and more expansive room, you do notice how much bigger it is and how much taller it is. For all that extra space, you would expect it to be a lot heavier, but it's not. It's only 215 grams, so a 14 gram difference. After using the Fold 8 for 2 weeks, it's crazy how much taller the Fold 8 Ultra is. Like, this thing feels so tall. Kind of reminds me of the change going from a slab phone 5 years ago to Samsung's previous foldables. They felt so tall. This now does too. The Fold 8 Ultra, because it has a more expansive surface area on the inside and covers more space, Samsung can make it thinner, meaning they can spread the componentry out over the surface area and then slim the phone down versus the Fold 8 that is a little bit thicker. Doesn't make it thick, it's just not as thin. The hinge design is also slightly different. The Fold 8 loses flex mode, whereas the Fold 8 Ultra still has the ability to have flex mode supported, although it's not as strong as I was hoping it to be. It's certainly lost some strength, and at a certain angle, it will just want to fall flat, which is a little bit disappointing. The software is still supported for flex mode, but the hinge isn't as strong as it used to be. But the Fold 8 doesn't support it at all, so there's that. And as different as they are to look at, they are equally as different to use. I want to start with the cover screen, because I think this is the entry point to the Fold and what a lot of people will use most of the time. Both of them do have a one-handed aspect to them. The Fold 8, the regular, is a 16:10 aspect ratio with only a 5.5 inch size diagonally across. It means it's short, which means you can reach the top easy, but it's wide, which means making a gesture across is a little bit more difficult. The Fold 8 Ultra, a 21:9 aspect ratio and a 6.5 inch diagonal screen size. Sounds a lot bigger, but in reality, it might not be as roomy, and we'll get to that. It does make it easier to reach across one-handed, but it also makes it harder to reach the top because of how much taller it is. Using it across the different things you might utilize your phone for does expose the differences very, very drastically. Social media on the Fold 8 Ultra feels stretched out, it feels elongated, and it does feel narrow. But you do see more lines vertically because it's stretched out more. The Fold 8 feels a little bit more squashed in, a bit more cramped, and you definitely don't feel as though you have as much room to explore the content that's on your screen. But at the same time, it is immersive because a lot of the content does fill the space. I found typing to be interesting. Two-handed typing on the smaller Fold 8 is a dream. It's actually really comfortable. Both hands fit quite comfortably on there. But the second you need to switch to one-handed typing, it's not as easy. Reaching across to the other side of the keyboard isn't as flawless as you might hope it to be, and it does feel a little bit hard. The Fold 8 Ultra, two-handed typing is a little bit more cramped, but one-handed typing is a dream. It's so easy just to reach across and type on that cover screen, and it does make the experience a lot easier. And the keyboard doesn't cut off the content as much as it does on the Fold 8. Capturing content, like using your camera on the cover screen on both, is quite interesting. I actually enjoyed the cover screen capturing experience on the Fold 8 more than the Fold 8 Ultra. The Fold 8 Ultra, with that tall and skinny aspect ratio, the photo doesn't fill the display and the preview's not as large, and you got more wasted space. The Fold 8 really takes advantage of that aspect ratio and really fills that display nicely, and it's a really compact shooting experience. I think I prefer the Fold 8 with the capturing experience, especially when it's closed. And viewing photos back on the cover screen after you've captured it too, you just have a more expansive experience. It just fills the display better, and both photos just look better on the Fold 8 over they do on the Fold 8 Ultra because it's just not having as much wasted space there. And also because of the aspect ratio of photos, when you open both phones, it actually again looks better on the Fold 8 because it fills the display, especially in portrait. Everything there's no black bars. This is just the photo that you're seeing. Whereas the Fold 8 Ultra does have a little bit of black bars and wasted space. I don't know. It's kind of mind trickery a little bit, but for some reason it just looks better on the Fold 8. And entertainment, and by that I mean watching YouTube videos, again, I think the Fold 8 kind of wins here. The Fold 8, when the screen is closed with the 16:10 aspect ratio, fills the display nicely. It's pretty immersive. The Fold 8 Ultra, again, with that tall and skinny aspect, 21:9, you do get quite a bit of black bars, and the actual content isn't as displayed as big as what it is on the Fold 8, which is crazy considering the screen size is bigger. And I was actually really curious because it is bigger. It kind of lends itself not necessarily to entertainment on that cover screen. But then you have the supporting flex mode feature, which is all about convenient entertainment without the need for a stand. So I wanted to compare tent mode versus flex mode, which one ultimately would be better. So I had a couple of different scenarios that I put into practice to see if it would be good, or to see which one will be good or better. It's early in the morning, give me a break. So at the cafe, where I've done a lot of the shooting and a lot of content recently over the past couple of months, I wanted to test the entertainment factor for both whilst I was eating breakfast and having coffee, and just see where it would land. Now, with the Fold 8 Ultra, you put it into flex mode from the big, massive open display, and then it automatically rearranges the software and puts it down for you flat on a flat surface. I'll talk a little bit about the hinge and how its weak points are in a moment, but I just want to talk about the validity of the flex mode experience. It's nice. You get to sit there and enjoy whatever it is you're doing hands-free, with your hands being occupied with something else, eating food and drinking coffee mainly. And then you also have controls on the bottom half of the screen that you can press the buttons on and control, go back, seek, whatever it is you want to do. The viewing experience is a little bit limited, but the convenience is there. So you still get to see what you want to see. It's just not as big as what it would be if it was completely open. With tent mode, it was interesting. You launch it from the cover screen and then you flick it open into tent mode and then place it down on the two halves of the display, and you kind of get to angle it however you want and it points back at you. And the experience is bigger. The Fold 8's cover screen has a bigger experience for viewing than what the Fold 8 Ultra on the inner half of the display does, which even though the screen sizes don't match up, it's just the case when you see it in person. It's down to that 16:10 aspect ratio on the front there. And then you still can, obviously with YouTube in particular, control with double tap left and right. But I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment why that didn't work out and why it's not necessarily the best solution. I did experience with the Fold 8 Ultra a little bit of problems with the hinge. When you tried to rearrange the angle, it doesn't want to stay up at a certain angle. And I got to experience that firsthand when I was doing some cooking at home. I thought this was another great opportunity. I got out the chopping board and all the stuff I needed to actually consume some media and some content using flex mode and tent mode at the kitchen bench. I started on the island because, as Bob Mortimer would say, it's nice to have a kitchen island.
Kitchen island. I've got a kitchen island. It's nice to have a kitchen island, isn't it? Yeah.
I started with tent mode first. So I got myself all set up, found the content I wanted, and then placed the phone down into tent mode. The thing with cooking and watching content, you might miss something. So with Fold 8's tent mode, when you go to double tap to go back, it does move the phone out of position. So whatever placement you had perfectly orientated to your face, it kind of doesn't have that anymore because it's moving out of the way. This is where shifting to the Fold 8 Ultra and putting that into flex mode down into position, you don't get that problem because it's got the dedicated control panel there. You can just tap to seek and swipe or whatever it is you need to do, and those controls are great. They're right there at the bottom half. But again, that same problem can occur with the hinge because when you try and rearrange it to get it to angle better at you, it just falls flat onto the surface underneath, and that's not necessarily a good thing. The last thing was moving everything across to the frying pan and starting to actually cook. Again, starting with tent mode, the same sort of problems occurred with the control side of things, and even more prevalent was the fact that when it started to get a bit noisy, I had to lift the phone up to turn the volume because of where the volume button was placed, and there's no controls on the front there. I'm now just realizing I could have used the quick panel, and I'll probably do that next time. Flex mode with the control panels just doesn't allow for that problem to exist. Because you still have the controls for seeking, and because of where the volume button is placed, you can just easily control the volume. Again, quick panel. And the thing is, Samsung also build their own flex panel. So if the app that you're supporting or watching flex mode content in doesn't have flex mode, Samsung built in flex mode panel, and you can press the button and it activates it, and then everything shifts to the top half of the display. Magic. I still don't know which one I prefer. I think from a viewing experience overall, the tent mode is better, especially if it's a set and forget. But if you need to have that control, the flex mode panel on the Fold 8 Ultra will probably suit you better. But I guess that's where the advantage, if you didn't want to use any of those, of unfolding both phones comes into play, because you do have the expansive entertainment experience on both the Fold 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra. When you unfold the Fold 8 Ultra, you've pretty much got a square. It is taller than it is wider when it's open, which means it's a portrait orientation mini tablet. And then you've got the more rectangle aspect of the Fold 8, which is wider than it is taller. The Fold 8 Ultra does feel expansive. You do notice that extra canvas space that you have to view things on, and it does fill the display nicely when it's optimized. Things aren't necessarily designed to suit that though. Whilst you do have all that expansive room, it doesn't feel as natural as what the portrait orientation does on the Fold 8 when it is rotated. When the Fold 8 is in landscape, it does feel a little short in comparison to the Ultra, but when you rotate the Fold 8 into portrait, it is the same height as the Fold 8 Ultra in portrait, if that makes sense. But what makes sense with that rotated in portrait on the Fold 8 is it's a bit narrower, and that feels like a proper tablet. Something I'm exploring at the moment is the iPad mini. I really think this is basically what Apple are going to launch, but folded for their foldable. And I think they're onto something when it comes to that 4x3 aspect for a tablet. It just feels natural when you're using it. The multitasking or split screen experience is the same, but it's also different. Taskbar is there, edge panels, all that stuff is there. All that stuff is the same. What's different is just how you execute it. The Fold 8 with the wider format, you do feel like with two apps next to each other, you have a bit more room in each app. And then because you've got that extra width, you can drag a third app next to each other side by side by side. So you've got three apps in vertical format that you can scroll between. The Ultra does have the capability to launch three apps, just not in the same format. And even if you rotate it into landscape, it doesn't have the capability to launch the third app next to the other two apps. You've got the typing experience when it's open, which I actually favor on the Fold 8, especially when it's in portrait. Because of the fact it's a bit narrower, it feels a bit more comfortable with the two hands. You don't feel as spread out. The Fold 8 Ultra, again, I've been used to it from last year, so I know the experience, but there's something about the Fold 8 when you're typing in portrait just feels so natural. One thing I've been keen to test out is the speakers, because of the speaker placement on the Fold 8 versus the speaker placement on the Fold 8 Ultra. They actually are in the same spot. Like the Fold 8 Ultra has it at the top and the bottom, and the Fold 8 is the same. I think people just like to complain about stuff. Anyway, here's how they sound. The Flip 8 versus the Galaxy Z Flip 7. I have to be missing something. Let's go. I have the Galaxy Z Flip 8 with me. And at first glance, and even at second glance, it even feels the same as the Flip 7. The Galaxy Z Flip 8 versus the Galaxy Z Flip 7. I have to be missing something. Let's go. I have the Galaxy Z Flip 8 with me. And at first glance, and even at second glance, it even feels the same as the Flip 7. Let's pivot to the cameras. And this is a hot one for me because I have a lot to say. You've got the obvious hardware differences, which I'll put to the side for now because the actual experience is quite similar. What's similar is the ultra-wide camera is the same across both. You've got the same chip, so it enables the APV video codec on both as well. And that means the output from everything is going to be the same too, except for the main camera. That main camera has a different. You got the 200 megapixel camera from the Fold 7 from last year on the Fold 8 Ultra, and you got the 50 megapixel main camera from the Fold 6 on the Fold 8. The Fold 8 Ultra has got a bigger sensor, faster aperture, and quad pixel autofocus, which makes the whole thing just a better sensor all round. Then you've got the 3x telephoto, which I actually think is just a complete waste, honestly. I've taken some comparison shots and the Fold 8 with a 4x zoom looks better than the 3x native on the Fold 8 Ultra. So realistically, I think Samsung could have just ditched that camera and replaced it with a 5x telephoto on the Ultra. Come on, Samsung, what are you doing? So output, probably the same when it comes from a processing point of view. All the functions are the same. What's different is how you can capture stuff. They actually share a lot of the same software capturing experiences. Fold 8 and Fold 8 Ultra both have what's called capture view mode. With the Fold 8 Ultra, when you turn on capture view mode, you've got access to it both in portrait orientation and in landscape because of the fact you've got that more expansive space. With the Fold 8, you can only have capture view mode in landscape. Looks great in landscape. That fills the 2/3 of the right-hand display, and the left-hand side is filled for pre-reviewing it. I always get them two words mixed up. Whereas when you rotate it into portrait, it disappears. And that has a lot to do with the aspect of the cameras and how they fit the aspect of the phone. They both also support cover screen preview. And this is where I think, again, the Fold 8 is better because of the fact it's got the larger cover screen on the front. For that preview, you can see it better. Fold 8 Ultra, of course, has it too, but because of that skinnier aspect, it's just not as filling the display and not as large for that person looking at it. And that same difference extends into rear cam selfie, which both of them have. The Fold 8 Ultra does benefit from the cameras being closer to the camera, I guess you could say, to the preview rather. And it is a smaller preview, but it is closer. And the Fold 8 has the larger preview, but the camera is a little bit further away, so you've kind of got to dart your eyes back and forth to get there. The rest of everything is the same. Same software features, same video capabilities, all of it identical. There's one crucial aspect though that's different, flex mode. The Fold 8 Ultra, with that sturdy hinge that it's got, can prop itself up into certain angles and allow the software to rearrange itself to capture things. It's been my favorite camera feature on Folds for the last 6 years. I have always used it to capture family moments, whether it be at Christmas time unwrapping presents, or even as a content capture device for my own channel. The 8 Ultra can do it. Prop it into that flex mode, watch the software rearrange, press record. The Fold 8, non-existent. Software doesn't even exist. Samsung have deemed it inappropriate to put it on here because the hinge isn't as strong. There is a point where it can hold itself, and I think Samsung could have just put the software in just to support that aspect, but it's not even there. Ultimately, the choice for these two phones comes down to what you value. Are you wanting a foldable experience that's compact, but also expansive, that can fit in a pocket and fit in a palm of a hand, but then also turn into like a proper ebook reader or thing you can write and do work on? Or are you looking for something that's a bit more traditional on the front, so a familiar smartphone, even though it is a little bit taller than a normal smartphone, but then you can get that expansive experience on the inside? I don't know. I still don't know. I still think I'm preferring this one at the moment. I just like the aspect of this inner display more than I thought I was going to. Again, though, I'm just glad Samsung can make both because the inside display on this is a marvel. Like looking at this and seeing this display and how big it is quite astonishing. And what Samsung have achieved with both of these phones is incredible. It just comes down to which one you think is the best solution for you. That's what I'll leave up to you though. You can determine that in the comments or with your purchasing behavior, whether you get one, both, or neither. That's up to you. Otherwise, hit subscribe to Tech with Benefits for all the other content that I've got planned around these phones and others. And I'll see you guys in the next one. You!